gosh, I'm feeling over the moon and probably still in shock. In fact, I'm still in shock from the Mrs Gibraltar pageant. So that feeling of shock has just stayed with me. Literally a few days after, 2 days after, I left to go to Bulgaria. It was all very quickly decided that this was going to happen, and I went over to Bulgaria to take part in the Classic Universe. So it's been an amazing experience, and I'm still practically on cloud nine, just reeling and in disbelief from the events, which as they've unfolded and as each thing happens, I keep thinking, is this for real? Am I dreaming all of this? So I'm very, very happy, but still trying to process everything that's happened, yeah.
What was the moment like when you heard that you were crowned Mrs. Classic Universe?
It was incredible. If you can imagine where the finals took place in this huge, opulent, very ornate Bulgarian ballroom, and it was filled with white tables with lots of locals and some dignitaries and special VIP guests. And there I was with all these gorgeous women from literally all over the world. And because they were speaking in Bulgarian language, I was listening very carefully, and as each country was being called, I kept thinking that they were the winner. It was a little bit confusing. And the countries were coming forward, and the lovely ladies were going forward and receiving crowns and sashes. And the moment that there was sort of a silence, and I did hear winner, and she said Gibraltar, and it took me a moment for her to comprehend that she'd called out our country's name, and I was like, oh, and then she said it again, Gibraltar. So that feeling was just incredible. The current Mrs. Classic Universe walked me down through the ballroom to pass the crown on top of my head and pass me with the sash, and I literally felt like I was in a dream. It was extraordinary. I couldn't quite believe it was all happening. It was surreal, really, really very surreal. Just taking into account the surroundings where I was, the whole event that was happening. It was just to comprehend that it was happening and that I'd won. It was just unbelievable, literally unbelievable.
So what happens now that you are Mrs. Classic Universe?
Well, it's such a wonderful, prestigious thing to be awarded. So the next thing that happens is that obviously I'm going to use this to promote everything to do with Ideal Productions and what we stand for, empowering women, and trying to get that whole message out, which is really ultimately what the Gibraltar Classic pageant was about. Women over 50 who perhaps feel that, oh well, this is my little station in life. So it's all, for me, it is all about realising that things can change very rapidly, very quickly, and empowering women.
Now, we've got to mention this because we interviewed you last week about having entered Mrs. Gibraltar Classic and having won. It was your birthday week as well, and then something special happened that you told me before our interview here that just added to the week. Tell us that story.
Honestly, the week in Bulgaria was like a movie unfolding. The whole events really has been like a movie unfolding. So not only did I go off on a high to Bulgaria from the win here, then the whole wonderful experience there, but 2 days after I arrived, it was my 52nd birthday, and they made a lovely fuss of me in the hotel that night at dinner. All the ladies, had arranged for the cake to be brought and some champagne. It was lovely. Then we had a press event in a local place in Bulgaria. And the pageant people, the organisers of the pageant over there, brought us to this place. And a very long story short, because I do like to talk a lot, but a very long story short, I was the winner of a diamond that was inside a champagne glass. So on my birthday in Bulgaria, in the middle of a Classic Universe pageant, I also won a diamond, which I've brought home to Gibraltar with me also. It's not in the crown, by the way, Michael. It's entirely separate. So yeah, I think the other international women looked at me like I was some kind of sorceress.
It was all going your way that week.
It was all going my way, yeah. They just couldn't believe that I'd won the diamond, and nor could I really. I think I'm still in shock for these constant wins. I think it's my week to do the lottery.
I think you should probably buy a ticket. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Is it? I'm on it. Stand back, Gibraltar. I'm going to be a millionaire.